we're gonna tell the students and everyone else that they have to do it, you guys have to do it as well, okay? So, I don't know if you guys saw the latest communication that came out, it has to be masked. You cannot wear, Jim, I'm sorry for picking on you, but you probably have one on underneath, cannot be that, cannot be the gaiter, I guess they call it, and they have to be actual masks that you're wearing. Any questions on that? Yeah. 25-year recognition, Sharon Jones. 15 years with Angela Korngold, Deb Vargs, Lewis Ward, and Simon Grove. I think they were all here this morning, but 15 years for them. We have hired a couple new drivers. They just started training though, so we didn't include them in this meeting, and when they're ready to come in and start working, we'll introduce them to everyone. They have perfect attendance, and that I included, if someone takes a personal day, I don't count that against your attendance, because the district has given that to you to use, so I know some bosses may say, no, you took a personal day. So if you hear your name and you're like, no, I was off a day, that's why, because I just figured if we give it to you, it shouldn't count against you. So perfect attendance, 14 drivers. Wow. Yeah, Dave Carey, Mary Chandler, Jim Decker, Greg Esser, Susie Galley, Serge Gonzalez, Mike Hine, Cliff Hiller, Dave Kuykendall, Steve Lunasek, Nora Norton, Randy Scott, Rudy Barackel, and Jim Ziemba. So, great job there. Usually then we have the district nurses, but she was already here last week, so we'll skip over that. And then we usually have someone from the employee assistance program. She's not coming this year, but there's still the pamphlets and everything out if you need to take one of those. Our 2 hours is done, over with, that was last week. And then I'm gonna move to, Lark's gonna come up and she's gonna review IMRF with you.
I just have a couple things to remind you guys of. First of all, make sure your beneficiary is current. You don't want somebody in there and something happened and somebody else get your money, that you don't want to get your money. So make sure that is updated. Also, the fundamentals that you get all the time, they're gonna start doing these online. You'll get an email. If you're registered and you have your email address in there, you'll start getting this through email now. I think there are two more times they're gonna send them out, but then after that, you'll get them through the email. If you don't have your email address in IRMF, you will not get it. And that, the website is irmf.org. The number to call is 1-800-ASK-IMRF. They are fantastic when you call them. They're very helpful. Also, if you're considering retirement, there is a retirement checklist that you can kind of follow to make sure you get all the steps in that you need. I'll have copies if you need one. We did give these out last year. I don't know if you guys remember. And the last thing is, don't forget, you can sign up for the voluntary additional contribution, up to 10% of your pay. And that form is online if you want to get into that. So you just fill it out and then you can bring it into us and we can send it to payroll. Or you can just send it to them.
What is that form called?
Just a voluntary additional contribution. And that's all I have unless you have any questions.
I do, Laura. So I was talking to somebody from that earlier meeting and she said that nobody asked. So if by chance something happens and we're out of school, what's gonna happen with the IMRF?
That I don't know, I think they're gonna continue, if you
It
get
depends,
paid,
it depends if you get paid or not.
So if we don't get paid,
Mhm.
do they have a thing where you could still, you know?
I think you'll be able to buy it back
Uh-huh.
later.
I don't know, that would be an HR question.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure on that, but,
Yeah, okay.
Or maybe even call IMRF.
yeah, that would be a good question for them.
Okay.
Any other
No.
questions? No? Alright, Jackie's
Jackie.
coming, oh,
I
sorry.
got an email that was saying how to review for retirement, is that from IMRF?
I'm getting the same
I-
one, it is not.
It's not, it's, delete that,
That's, okay, that's what I thought.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've been
kept
getting that
questioning them and that, and they never got back to me.
yeah, no.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jim?
I got a question here is this. There are a lot of districts in the area that are having totally remote, school. Those that are doing that are bus drivers and bus routes. What are they doing with their bus drivers? Are they paying the bus drivers? Are the bus drivers drawing unemployment? Are the bus drivers out in the air? I mean, we ought to know that. That's a question that should be able to be answered.
I think it's different, it depends, district to district, so, I couldn't tell you, I'm
Well,
not,
I mean,
That's a district decision.
U-46 is getting paid. I talked to a driver from U-46, they're getting paid.
and the story I heard from U-46 is, just so you guys know, they're union. They offered them like 3 or 4 hours a day each day, and they turned it down. So they did get to the point where the district said then, no, you're not getting paid then. It brought it back to the bargaining
who
table.
said that, Mary? I didn't catch that.
Someone from U-46.
Oh, so U-46 is getting paid or is not getting?
They are, but I think they're negotiating with the union is how it came about. They wanted full pay every day, and the districts are getting to a point where they cannot take the financial hit. So that's why I say it's district to district, it depends on the situation they're in.
I'm asking that question not as somebody that is wanting to breed, because I know the hardship is on all the school districts, all the taxpayers. It's hard on everybody. This is a really strange situation
Mhm.
that we've never experienced. But that's why I'm asking,
Yep.
just to try to get a picture of what.
And I could sit up here and candy coat it for you, I just don't believe in being that person. It really is going to come down to, what the district decides, should we shut down? But they're obviously trying everything they can to not shut down, to get the kids back in school
is-
and to continue to pay
Is the
everyone.
bottom line, it would fall on the taxpayer dollar, or would it be would we get any state funding, federal funding? I mean, you hear everything, that like, we're not gonna.
It depends, you know, everything changes all the time with ISBE, so it depends on what they issue too. So when we say we don't know, we literally do not know because it changes every day.
Thank you.
Sue Ann?
ISBE on August sixth, they released that same statement that they released in March, allowing all the districts to reimburse their contractors, support staff, and bus drivers. And we're in that language, and that was just released for this upcoming year on August sixth again. And I spoke with them, and they sent me the link to that, so
Mhm.
since the district is going to be reimbursed by the state, so that should give them the
Should.
authority.
Mhm. But, I'm not HR, so that's gotta come from them.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So I guess I'm kinda confused, so if Geneva does close, is it Geneva then that decides whether or not they're gonna pay us? Or, so Geneva doesn't have any idea? I mean, whether, they haven't talked about it, like, okay, if we close, we can, or we can't, or, I mean, they
They
don't have
haven't
an
even
idea?
discussed raises for this year yet. I mean, we have been, I don't, maybe you guys don't understand the enormity of what is going on right now and how, much administrators are focusing on just getting the kids back to school. I mean, it literally, we have principals ready to pull their hair out trying to get this put together, before the 31st, and that's why we pushed it out to the 31st. So, it may seem weird to you guys, cause you've been off all summer, it's really not weird that we haven't talked money, not even the administrators have talked about raises.
Well,
So-
I think raises should be on the back burner if we can't even have a job, because, you know, if I don't get paid, I don't have a
But no
job,
one
which
said
then
you
means
weren't
I gotta
getting
go
paid.
somewhere.
Yeah,
and
you-
No
somewhere
one said
else.
that, no one said you
No, I
weren't
know, but I'm
getting
just
paid.
saying, if somebody's, you know, we haven't talked about raises, well, raises, to me, isn't something that's important as, are we gonna be able to pay our employees if we don't have school?
Well, I think you're missing the point. What people are getting paid in general has not even been discussed. It is getting the kids back to school.
Yeah.
How can we do it and how can we do it safely so that we don't have to, get into a situation like that? How do we do it safely so everyone can show up to work and transport the students? Suzanne?
I was just wondering if I could read what she sent me from the Board of Education. Can I
Well,
read
it's
it?
not gonna change anything because I'm not HR,
Okay.
so.
Well, just so everyone else can hear it, this is what they sent me. It says ISBE will base transportation reimbursement on expenditures. All allowable transportation expenditures incurred during limited or full closure will be claimable for transportation reimbursement from the state. Districts should work with their contractors to make payments to ensure that all personnel, including bus monitors and drivers, can continue to be paid. If the school district chooses to negotiate and execute a contract amendment with their bus contractors to make payments to ensure transportation personnel is paid in full. And that was released on August 7th, just this past August 7th for this upcoming year. And that's what allowed Geneva to pay us last year, she said. So hopefully that,
Could I make a comment on
I
that?
don't know, I guess I heard bus contractor throughout that whole thing, and maybe I missed something, but
for what?
bus contractor,
Bus personnel, contractors, aides. Yeah,
So-
it's, I mean, it's all listed. So you don't think we fall within that realm?
I don't, again, I'm not HR, I just,
Hey, could I say something about that? Anybody, whether it be the governor or anybody affiliated with schools or the state of Illinois can promise you, the district, anything. But that means, go ahead and pay your employees and we'll reimburse you. Well, is that a guarantee? I don't think so.
I don't think anything's guaranteed.
Well, I'm just saying, it all falls back on the people that live in the district. The bottom line is gonna fall on the taxpayers and taxpayers.
and it's certainly not trying to scare anyone. Again, I'm trying to be honest. We are in a position right now where, it's day to day. We're still trying to muddle through all of this.
So the first priority, I think, is that getting the kids to school. That's where the priority is right now, safely, so we can all keep our jobs. And not worry about if we're not going to be paid because we don't have our jobs. We aren't even going there yet. Right now, it's let's do everything we can do so we can all work every day, because that's what we all want. So that's really the focus right now. I don't think, I mean, I believe in this district and I know that everyone's fighting for everybody, so I honestly don't think they'd be like, oh, we're shut down, so you're not gonna get paid tomorrow.
It may look different, you may have to come in. They may say if you come in and you help the custodians, you'll get paid.
Fine by me.
So again, I can't guarantee anything. I can just tell you, I agree with her. You know, they've done everything they can so far. I don't see them just throwing their hands up in the air and saying,
Is it
Fine.
true that Batavia are they doing all e-learning, Batavia and St. Charles?
No, that's not true.
I heard Batavia was doing all e-learning except for elementary, and that was only half a day. And then St. Charles just
Well,
went,
elementary is going to school, that's what, yeah, so it's not
only
all,
elementary, but middle school and high school's doing strictly e-learning?
correct.
That's weird, why? I know it's not our district, but I
I don't know, but if we're gonna, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't go into everything in
Well,
every
no,
district.
because I thought we usually kinda go off of what they do, that's why I was wondering.
Renee, did you have a question?
Yes, I just had a question. If by chance that we
we're not gonna get paid, we're not able to, would we then qualify for unemployment? Do you know?
If they furlough you, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
That's-
Earl?
Well, you would think that if they're not driving a bus, there's gonna be a savings of, gas, diesel fuel, that there would still be more money in the kitty, you might save.
You have, again, no idea what this district has been through since March. The amount of money that has been spent on chemicals, on plexiglass, it is an insane amount of money. I cross my heart, there is no savings here. There's a lot of money going out the door, not a lot coming in right now, so, Jim?
I just wanna say one last thing about this subject. I was talking to my wife, for 6 years I've had the same route, literally, middle and high school. I told her this year, I said, if Batavia, grade school is going, because the younger you are, seems like the less COVID-19 is involved.
I don't know if it's necessarily, let me just tell you,
Okay.
I don't know that it's necessarily that. I can tell you in Geneva, if that were to happen, it's because they feel like the younger the student, the more worthwhile it is to have that student in front of a teacher. So maybe a combination of that, but that is our goal, is to keep students in front of the teachers, because space time is so important for them and for learning.
But if we followed Batavia and did the same type thing,
Mhm.
then maybe I should think this way. Maybe I should be looking at grade school, because if I'm driving grade school, some of us are gonna be working, and some of us aren't.
Everybody has their, again, yes, their own opinion.
So,
Some
you take
people
a high
say maybe
school
I
route,
should be
you
doing
take a
sped,
grade school route.
you know, because there's only one student and they're going 5 days a week. So everybody has their own opinion on how they wanna bid on things. All right. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, so forms will be given to you, and every bus is going to have this purple folder. Okay, it has 6 pockets in it. One pocket will have all the forms. All the forms that you always use are the same, except for one. The clock in, clock out form. So if you were to clock in late, or if you missed part of your, route, your PM route because you were sick or something, that form has changed. It's still a half sheet of paper, but it has, different things on it now. So hopefully it's a lot easier for everyone to understand. I'll have you, everyone can take a look at it when they get their purple folders, but it's basically saying today's date, or the date you turn this in, then the date that you clocked in late or early or missed route time. Then,
No, we just let it show.
oh, okay. I thought it was covering something up.
I think it has all the pockets in there.
If you're requesting a time change, list what you want the time change to. If you don't need a time change, say that, I do not need a time change, then you're gonna tell me why. Why do you want me to change the time, or why am I not changing the time? Is it, I was late, there was traffic, you guys can all figure it out. It's really, I think a more simple form now. You will put on here, if you're requesting AM, PM, mid time be added, and you're gonna say if you want me to use sick or personal time. And that's it. So that's the only one that's changed. All the other forms are the same and they will all be in there. The other pocket has codes. So this, will be in there, okay? So your codes as allergies,
So specific to each bus, that it's.
yes,
gonna
this
be
is
already
specific
on
to
the
each
bus.
bus, yes. Another pocket will have your emergency envelope that has all of your students, your, roster. Another pocket will have extra masks. So you'll have adult and kid size masks. Another pocket has your attendance sheet. So we will be taking attendance, that's gonna be reviewed here in a little bit. And another pocket will have your seating chart, which will also be talked about. So every bus will have one of these. I think what we need to talk about, which we didn't, and the other one is new attendance sheets. Right?
New attendance sheets?
Yeah, because they're gonna use those daily.
Mm-hmm.
How are we gonna get the new ones? We have to,
Probably in their bins.
in the bins, okay. Yeah, so brings me to, when you fill out a form, in the bays, the bins in the bays, you can put them in there, the mechanics will be grabbing things from there, so it's not necessary for you to come in here. You can use that same thing on the wall that you've used before. The middle schools, you'll have to go in and use by the time clock there, the tray there. Okay, that's all for the purple folder and
Oh,
forms.
Pamela has a question.
Yeah, I have a question in regards to the attendance.
Okay.
So, we have one form in the purple folder,
Mhm.
and we'll take it on a daily basis. So do we put that in the folder out there where we do the pre-trip?
The bin.
In the bin, in the bay, yes,
And then we get a new one?
that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
And is it a week's worth?
I believe it's a week's worth, so we can.
Oh, one sheet is for a week?
That's when we do sped, so I'm assuming
Okay.
it'll be the same, right?
I'm assuming it's gonna be a lot more names though,
But it's-
so it's gonna be pretty thick, so,
So if you, I'm sorry, I
That's
just really
okay,
have to
that's okay.
process this. So, on the one sheet, we're going to have both the Monday and the Tuesday kids, okay? Will they be separated out,
no, we
Monday
can
and Tuesday, or they're all together?
separate them out, I believe, this is a very good question. See, these are things we come across, things that we've never done before, we're trying to cover everything, so
Right,
it's good when you start talking about them and you realize, oh, wait a minute, we gotta think
Yeah.
about that. We'll get back to.
Are you talking about the AV?
Yes,
yeah, I'm just also trying to, this is gonna be new for all of the bus drivers. So, we're gonna have to learn the kids' names pretty quickly, and I don't know, I don't know how many kids are gonna be on a bus.
There's about 15 to 20.
Okay, that's a lot then if you're talking per day,
Mhm.
okay, so
So
for
this is,
me,
this is what I'm imagining as they get on, you're marking them off.
but we aren't gonna know that for at least.
Well, they're
a
gonna
week.
have to tell you their name as they get on.
And we're doing attendance by name, right?
Yep.
Not number name, okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
And I think
Yep.
it has our address too, so.
Why are we taking attendance?
For, you gotta put, first of all, put that up over your nose, you have to wear it properly. Thank you. For contact tracing.
Okay.
I think it would be easier if we had a separate sheet for the 8 kids and separate.
and I agree with you, and we will try to do it that way. And I think we should be able to, cause we have them broken down by bus that way, that'll be fine, we can do that. So you'll have
Okay,
attendance sheets and B attendance sheets,
so on
Yeah, I
an
don't see
8,
that being a problem.
no,
on an 8, like a regular sheet of paper,
yes.
okay, so clipboard or?
Big font.
There you go, you're gonna be like me in every meeting.
This is how I drive, it's dangerous.
But seriously, where are we going to put that to make it efficient, to be able to do that?
You know, one thing I think that you guys will all figure out, once you start doing this, you're gonna figure out the way that you do it best. I envision a little bit different than what Mary just said. If it was me doing it, I would wait till my bus was full. I would look at my diagram and I would say, okay, that person's missing, that person's missing. And I would know then everyone was here except those 2 kids. Because you're
That's true, they talked about in the AM meeting that mark just the ones that are not there.
right, just an X next to a person who's not there.
Mhm.
That's how I would do it. Once I had my last kid on the bus, I'd be like, okay, I know I can tell I'm missing 5L, whatever, but we end up calling that because we're not even 100%
Yeah,
sure
no, we
yet.
can't do 5 left and right.
We can't do left and right, it's gotta be D and S.
Wait,
So-
what do you mean? Wait, go back.
So Pamela had this great idea last week that, she came up to me and talked about putting the numbers up. So, yeah, we'll do left, we'll do right, and the kids will know exactly, like, you board a plane, how do you know where your seat is, so they didn't have those up there. But then we're talking about it this morning, and the seating chart is driver's side, or what was,
Service door.
service side, cause you can't say door, cause then you have D&D.
Yeah, service.
And then somebody, but is it stairs?
Are
Which
we
would
gonna be
probably
able to
make
put
more sense to the
their
kids.
names?
So do we say door side, stair side? That's probably where we'll end up. But everything has been like this, where you're like, oh my God, I thought we had it figured
Or
out.
driver's side.
It's driver's side.
Driver's side.
So it's it's already put in the system, we can't change that it
Right.
says D and S. It's not possible for us to change it. Like, it's
Oh, it
it's
says
not an
door.
allowable function.
So they put, what we think they were thinking is S was for service door, cause they couldn't put just door,
Okay.
because you can't have D&D.
And the parents have this information already?
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay. Will they get it before we see it, so they kinda like prep their kids, or not really?
They've been told there will be a seating chart,
But not what seat yet?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way to put that into home access.
Are we gonna be able to put like magnetic strips or something with people's names on them? Can we take that upon ourselves?
That would be hard though, if you're, especially if you have a 3-tier route. Right. And,
That's why we're doing the numbers.
yeah, cause then you're switching kids' names on Monday and Tuesday.
Yes.
And then that could, then
But if
Wednesday.
you wanted to do it, can we do that? I mean,
I wouldn't suggest it, because they're all going to get a seating chart, and it's gonna be one D.
D2.
One D, one S.
No, D2.
Mhm.
So like, here, D2, we will have a magnetic strip that says D2 on that seat.
oh, you already are gonna do that?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm.
Every bus is going to have D2, D3, D4, S1, S2, S3, S4.
But
Your
just-
seats will be
I guess I was
different.
more explaining to you what the S is, because it kinda threw us at first too.
Service door.
We just planned on doing left and right.
Stairs. I said stairs, but it's actually service door, cause it says it and Matt found it.
Yes, but again, I think the kids are gonna associate stairs.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
We're just gonna take their name and tell them D3 or D4.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. They're gonna get used to it after the first week, it's gonna be a non-issue for them, so.
Yes. Kathy,
Non-negotiable.
You have attendance sheets, are they gonna be turned in once a week? And we're gonna track the kids for that week?
Most likely.
Could you put A on the top and B at the bottom, so we have,
there'll be separate sheets. That's what we just said, yeah, separate sheets. You'll have an A sheet and you'll have a B sheet.
it is being turned in all at the same time, why?
Cause that's how we have to print it. I don't, I don't.
We had to adjust even our routing system to have an A routes and B routes. So you can't just print both of them together, they are now two separate routes. So every time we did a route, there were 4 routes, there was the 2 AMs and 2 PMs. So even that has just been very convoluted, and we have done it as best we can in the same order, A and B. But obviously, we're not gonna put a stop in where we know there are not going to be kids on the B route, just because there's kids on the A route. So they're close, they're not always exact. Jim?
We're coming out this year by the emails with a lot of, this is the way it's gonna be, they're gonna do this, kids are gonna have assigned seats, blah, 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 blah. In years past, kids ought to get on the bus, and they try to come up the step 2 or 3 at a time from the bus stop. And when we start this school year, I wanna know, am I gonna be the captain of the bus? And when I say this, when you enter the bus door, you call out your name. Don't make me, what's your name, miss? And then go down the list like this. And the sooner we all find out what the kids' names are and who they are. I used to, at the beginning of the school year, I'm just saying this as an example, stand at the door when they got on the bus, the first day of school, when they got on the bus, show me your ID, and I want to learn your name. Mary Smith. Okay, so you do that 3 or 4 days in a row. By the end of the week, you get to know these kids' names. But here's the thing, they used to have this. They used to have IDs. when they come up, they should have something that they throw down like this, right like this, and say who they are, Timothy Jones. And go back and have a seat, and as they're doing that, Timothy Jones is here. But you know what, help us out, if you're gonna want me to set my middle school, I got 18 kids get on my last stop, middle
You're
school.
not gonna have.
You're not gonna have that.
Okay, so-
Okay, but whatever, I mean, how many names are you gonna look down, how many days are you gonna?
I think it's as simple as you taking,
Time-wise.
listen, you have to take charge of the bus. It's part of the job. It just is. You're the driver. You're expected to have control over the bus.
Okay,
If you tell the students you're gonna need to tell me your name, for the first week so that I can mark you off, then that's the way it is, right?
right,
And if after a week, you have to go back to them and say, you know what, thought it'd only take me a week, let's do it one more week to make sure I got it, okay? Pamela?
How about, I think sometimes consistency works for everybody
Mhm.
here. If, when we get to the school, the students have to stay in their seats, and then you can go down the aisle and do the roll call at that point. Then you're not holding up traffic, and as a bus driver, getting yourself flustered, because you're trying to learn names and mark
Mhm.
off, and handle a sheet of paper, plus handling your route paper and everything else. So if we can take just 2 extra minutes while we're at the school, and if everybody does that, all the kids are going to know that that's the routine of the bus.
The only thing I see with that is there are some schools like Williamsburg who is unloading one bus at a time.
Well, that gives you even more
So-
time to,
You can sit there and do that, and if they pull in right behind you, that gives them time to do it at that time. But if you guys are just pulling in like this, it's gonna take a really long time to unload those buses. If we're waiting, for each bus to take attendance. But I agree with what Jackie said earlier, I think you're gonna figure it out what works for you.
okay,
And if that's what works for you, that's what you should do. Because I don't want people being flustered, sitting on the road going, oh my God, I gotta get attendance, but I'm holding up traffic. Again, something to keep in mind, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if there was a stop on Route 38, we started moving those kids off of 38 and onto a side street to get picked up, right? Because the chance of that bus getting hit, it was just a huge safety issue for us to continue stopping on Route 38. So you don't have that. The kids on Anderson, for the most part, we've either moved them off of Anderson or we have the bus coming off a side street and picking up. So you're not stopping the bus 15 times on Anderson. Because that's when traffic really gets bad. When people get frustrated, then they start wanting to go around the bus and so, and coupled with the lighter loads, hopefully it's not going to be as big of a deal. But again, I think you guys will get into your routine of what works for you.
alright, so just another real quick clarification.
Mhm.
We have the sheets, we're taking attendance, but we're not putting that sheet in every day, just once a week?
Once a week.
So then what's the purpose of contact tracing if you're not on a daily basis?
Well, if we have to pull it, we will, but we have it available if we need it. If they call us and say, we need to know who was, then we will get it off the bus at that point, right? I mean,
Dan?
The sheets that you're putting out, is it based on alphabetical order or is it based on the stop? So you go to one stop, you have 3 kids.
It's based on the stop, so
So
we're
that
going
should
to
be
load,
easier.
the kids will load in the morning from back to front, and when we drop them off, it'll run opposite, so the kids up front will get off first, and then,
That saves a tremendous amount of time because you can pull up and see how many are there.
yeah.
Are we gonna have any stops with with several students?
Yes.
Are you limiting how many kids are on the stop? or-
But there aren't, again, because of the loads, there are probably more than maybe 5 kids at a stop. Tina?
Mine's not really per se about the assigned seating, mine is cause I did the golf yesterday, and they acted like they didn't know what they were doing. They got on the bus, they were sitting wherever they wanted, and I said, oh, wait, you know, you can't sit behind me, you gotta do every other one, and then you gotta go over here.
Was this Girl Scout?
Yes,
Which is odd, because the driver today that we asked said that they were so thankful that the coach was there and told them exactly what they needed
yeah,
to do.
see, and like,
And
that's
they all
what-
acted like they all, even with the swim team, who doesn't have a coach, all the kids knew what they were supposed to do, and they didn't have a single issue with it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have an issue, it needs to be written up.
Well, that's why, I mean, the coach even acted like he didn't know, oh, they gotta be every other seat?
Which why I'm saying, that's why it's weird, because
Yeah,
but
Well, that's-
another driver said that the coach
Yeah.
was
They were
great.
great.
Yeah.
well, that's why I was wondering if they had been informed yet or not,
Mhm.
because then they're putting,
Yeah.
their, you know, golf clubs.
They've
on
not
their
only
seat,
been
and they're
informed,
going
he's
their
already
seat,
done it,
and-
that's why I'm confused, yeah.
Yeah, they were getting up and moving seat to seat, you know, before we left, you know, trying to figure out where to go, and I was like, so I didn't know if they knew or not.
Yep.
He may have more than one coach.
Not that it's gone yet. Yeah, just, any other questions? Did you finish, Jen?
No. So, just the other things are permit renewals. Once you have gotten your physical and we get that back, we send it into the state with the check you gave us. They should be sending you your permit letter. Make sure you get us a copy of that, and that's when you will get your $4 back. That's the system we kind of come up with. Pre-trip books, they're not out here any longer. They are, the mechanics will have them. You can fill out a repair request that you need a new one. They'll put it on your bus for you. Or you can stop at the window in the lobby. We have some back there, we can hand them to you. I-passes, if you have a route that requires one, just come to the window, we'll get it to you. Trips, you'll come to the window also and get your I-pass. We'll do it that way, and we're just again asking everyone to use your Skyward app to clock in and out when you can. Hopefully, you can all do that. So, Jim?
Are we covered everything here? Because I've never heard it said, are we allowed kids on the bus with a fever? Kid gets on your bus and has got a fever, what's the process? What,
Just call base,
just what?
call base, we'll handle it. So all these students,
Because,
the parents
Let me ask you this.
are self-certifying the students, okay? So if they have a fever, that shouldn't happen, you need to contact us or contact the parent.
here's what I'm getting at. Will they or will they not be taking a temperature before they're allowed into Williamsburg, before they're allowed into
Yes, they will.
Trap?
Yes, they will.
But yet they can get on the bus.
No,
That's a
they're
good
supposed
word
to
of
do
the
that
parent.
before they leave the
Just
house.
like we are supposed to do it.
Their parents are saying that they're gonna do it, so it's up to them.
There's a level of trust
I
you
mean,
have
I
to
would
have.
buy my own.
There's no point in a parent saying this kid can get on a bus and know that they have a fever when they're going to be rechecked at the school. Do you know what I mean? There's no point in lying about it because we're gonna find out, right? And the parents know
Well,
that.
I know, Mary, because I hear that parents give kids Tylenol to get a fever down to get them to school. That's what I've heard.
But I can't control that. All we can do in an environment like this, in a situation like this with a virus, is all of us do everything that we can to protect
So if
other
I get a
people.
wall-mounted thermometer, or, you know, temporal thermometer,
Mhm.
all I have to do is look at my own expense, at the entrance of my bus.
Right,
It doesn't do any good to use it, because if the kid's got a temperature, he's gonna get on the bus anyway, and take him over to the school,
mhm,
so.
correct.
So that answers the question.
Can I go back to Skyward?
Yes.
So this week, when, the only way you can use Skyward is to be in the building, like to the outside.
District Wi-Fi.
Okay, so we do have to come in anyway, but you don't want us to,
I think, does it not work in the parking lot?
no.
It
No, they
should.
really honed it in last year.
Really?
We
Yeah.
couldn't even do it at the middle school, you had to do it, you had to
So,
step
and
inside
in, and in fact, if
tighten it up.
I tried just a couple days ago to, get it prepped up, And when I come in, then it's still reading it from out there, so I had to shut it down and go back into Skyward once I came into the building. So we are going to have, unless somebody said they were gonna try to change the distance, but it hasn't been changed as of
Well,
Monday.
you still want us to come in,
Yeah, you still have to check in here.
Okay.
We have to see you.
Okay, so we have to come in, but we're using our phone as opposed to using the,
Yeah, and we're not saying you can't use these.
right?
It's more like, I don't wanna use them after 5 other people have. And it's just me though, that's the way I am.
But we do have the, touchless,
Yep.
what's it called? Hand
Hand
sanitizer.
sanitizer, yeah.
By them now, so that's good, yes.
Has anybody covered the disinfection of the bus?
We're about.
We are.
We'll get there.
We're getting there, we're getting there.
Mary,
Yes,
do we have a policy if students do not have a mask at the bus stop, are we giving them one from the
Yes.
pouch then? Is that the idea?
but it is a write-up. It is not a UOR. If a student does not have a mask on, it is not a UOR. It is going straight to a write-up. The school has agreed, the deans, the principals, whomever, have agreed that it's a phone call home. You get 1 shot, you get 1 phone call home. After that, you're off the bus.
So what, how do you write it out? Just,
Discipline, yeah, a discipline. I'm just saying, like, do not use a UOR. It is a write-up.
I never use it just one sheet, I've already.
Conduct report.
Conduct,
Conduct?
conduct report.
The best conduct report.
Any other questions?
How many masks are there in the phone?
What was there, like 10 for kids and 20 for adults or something like that?
20 adult, 10 kids.
Kathy?
How are we handling the drop off at the middle school?
We'll go into that. Is there anything else for Jackie?
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, Jackie.
All right, Tyler's up. He's gonna go over the disinfectant.
Get my pretend bus seats here.
Don't freak out, it's just water in there.
Yeah. So these are just filled with water. But under normal conditions, these would be filled with Contact 256. It's a hospital grade general purpose antiviral disinfectant. It kills everything. It kills mold, it kills mildew, all viruses that you can possibly imagine, and most bacteria too. On the side of it, it gives most of the basic information, but if you need any more information about it, I have the MSDS in the shop. So, the way that this works is, it's air, you pump the top of it, it's really, really easy to pump, and it doesn't take a lot of work to pump it up. You can hold down the button, and you can see, it sprays a pretty fine mist. Now, in order to cover a full bus seat, it doesn't take much. This thing works phenomenally well, and it's why we went out and purchased these over anything else, and so you're not squeezing that spray bottle a billion times. So all you have to do, aim it at the window, and you just kind of draw an M. It's a quick zigzag back and forth. It covers the front, it covers the back, it covers the sides, it covers the floor, it covers the wall, and it covers the windows. So everything that those kids could possibly touch or get anything on is covered by this stuff. Now, it is safe in confined spaces. You don't need to open the windows to ventilate it. It dries very, very fast. If you don't like the smell, go ahead. But it is safe to use inside of the bus without having to open up windows to ventilate or dry off. It dries off in, I'd say, about a minute or two, but the times that you guys will be spraying this is right after each drop off. So after the kids.
We have to do a child check. So do we spray while we go down and do the child check?
I was just about to get to that.
Okay, that was what.
Spraying an entire 72 passenger bus, I would spray the seats on the, I tested this like probably 40 times over the summer. Spraying all of the seats on one side, hitting your child check, and spraying all the other seats on the other side takes less than like 2 minutes at the very most. It's a very fast process. You don't have to hose and hammer it until the thing is soaked, and that's honestly
just-
preferable, yeah.
Breathing that stuff.
Yeah, so it's not toxic for us to breathe out?
No, it is not. This is
Okay.
hospital grade. They use it in hospitals on a regular basis to disinfect the entire building, small confined spaces and all.
Okay.
So it is.
Does it freeze?
What is that?
Does it freeze?
It should not.
Good to know.
Now, I believe, I'll have to get the MSDS to look up the exact freezing point, but it is very low, and I highly, highly doubt the inside of your bus is gonna be -40, and if it is, we're probably not gonna be driving it. So, any other questions about the bottle?
Yeah, Taylor, just, again, you said spray, start at the window, so the top window or the bottom window?
Just right in the middle, honestly, because it's such a fine mist that I was able to hit the whole bus. And the way that I did it, to get everything in a very fast manner, as I just kind of reached in a little bit, pointed it right at the window and the wall, and just went back and forth, and I kind of drew an M shape, but it's real fast. It's just a zigzag, and then the next one, and then you just keep going down the line. It goes very, very fast. It's really, really easy to use. You shouldn't have to pump it back up too much, and I didn't find more than 10 pumps, and it's just back to normal. So it's
And
very,
don't touch the nozzle.
yeah. So another thing,
They have got them all set for you.
yeah, the nozzles I already have pre-adjusted to be a fine mist, to be exactly where we want. We don't want to soak the seats. Like you can see, I kind of soaked this one as a demonstration. You don't want to soak them because then they probably won't be dry by the time your next kids get on and they're sitting in sanitizer and nobody's gonna want that. It does dry fast. It only takes about a minute or two, so by the time you drive to pick up the next students in between schools, it should already be completely dry.
How many seats can you do for one pressurizer?
So if you pump this thing up 10 times like I did, I was able to do the entire bus twice. So, and it holds its pressure very well. I pumped it up overnight and it held its pressure for 3 days straight. So these are really nice. It's actually a common garden sprayer for watering
We
small
went to
plants and
15
things.
different Home Depots to get those sprayed.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I certainly loved our key cards, these things we turned in.
Where are we putting those?
So these are going to be either stored, they hang comfortably off the trash can, or you can put them in the pouches that's behind your seat, in between the seat and that first barrier. Or even back down by the flashers, wherever's most comfortable for you, but it's essentially very similar to those spray bottles we already had in there previously.
Well, we're still gonna have those, aren't we? Because that's the window cleaners, or no?
We do have bottles for window cleaner, however, they're gonna be on a case-by-case basis because a lot of our bottles are being repurposed for sanitizer in order to clean the small buses. So small buses are gonna get a regular spray bottle, significantly less seats, significantly less students, so it's easier just to use that real quick. It's not as much of a hassle. Plus these get expensive when you buy a lot of them, so we only had enough for so many and we focused on the big buses for that. Go ahead.
Do you potentially see any issue at middle school when we kinda gotta get the heck out of there, people behind us have to get, or they wanna get out and get the second front wave in?
So one of the things that we have done, by combining these routes the way that we have, is we have one way now, north and south. People are just gonna have to be patient, again, it doesn't take a long time, but it's about the same as walking your bus, which everyone's supposed to be doing anyway, and hitting that button in the back. And at the middle school, just so you know, this is for, say, a 3-tier route. After your high school, you're a spray. After your elementary, you're a spray. After your middle school, you don't need to, because it's coming back here and they're gonna do it.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, that was my next thing.
Okay.
Me and Mike are gonna be spraying after AMs and after PMs. So when you get here in the morning, you don't have to spray the bus, it'll already be sprayed from the day prior. And then after AMs, you can just come straight in, park the bus, and we'll be handling the spray afterwards.
So they're taking a different spray at the end of AM, at the end of PM, what is it, H2 orange or something?
Yeah, well, that's an additional process, we'll still have to sanitize. So, another process that we the mechanics have to take on is this very, very slowly builds up a residue. It just kind of makes the seats a little sticky. So every single day we have to go in and wipe out at least 12 buses, so they can be wiped out once a week in order to reduce that residue. And we have an additional disinfectant and cleaner that's also a degreaser, and it's a whole other different thing that we have to go in and wipe out and clean. So all of these bus seats are gonna be cleaned regularly, at least once
And
a
the
week.
one thing we asked this morning was, they're probably gonna have to fill these once a day. So if you leave your pre-trip book on the steps, if you could leave that on the steps as well, to make it easier and quicker for us.
So we tested for a 3-tier route every time. So I sprayed 3-tier routes, or the equivalent of, this is the testing that I did. We did the equivalent of a 3-tier route every single day to see how much the residue is, and it's honestly not that much. It feels just about as sticky as the kids leave it every day anyway. So it's not gonna be very noticeable. But this jug is a half-gallon jug, and after doing 3-tier routes every single day, we tested with water obviously, but I came back with about 8 ounces left after a full day's worth of spraying on a 3-tier route. So there should be more than enough in here for you to cover your AMs and PMs. Now, as far as my scheduling, I'm gonna be filling these after AMs. So when you come in the morning, it'll probably be about half full, and when you come in the afternoon, it'll be completely full. I'm gonna have to fill every single one of these every day in order for everyone to have enough. So please leave them on the stairs with your trip book, because the less stairs I have to do, it saves hours of running around and time, for me at least. So I really appreciate just
At least you
on
don't
the
have to
steps.
go to the back room to fill them.
Yeah, they initially installed where I had to fill it in the back room, and I told them, no, it's gotta be out there. That was
It's like, I
nice.
don't know if you did this, so it's under lock and key, but I think we're good, you just move it out there. That is not gonna work.
Go ahead.
There's one thing I would like to ask you about.
Mhm.
These tanks that are pressurized,
Mhm.
they're recommended at the end of the usage to let the pressure off of them. Now, maybe these will last forever with pressure under pressure, but what I'm saying is, if they're gonna be refilled every day, I guess they're not gonna be prolonged periods of time where it's under pressure, but.
Correct, you won't have to worry about doing any of that.
Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know what you're talking about, and I know normally, under most circumstances, manufacturer says don't leave a lot of pressure in here, but that's under the idea that you're gonna spray your flowers once a week with them, and then leave them a whole week with pressure.
Okay.
It can weaken the seals and things like that. However, I'm gonna be filling them every day, I'll be releasing the pressure every day, so you guys don't have to worry about the maintenance of these. Just worry about spraying the bus and leaving them on the stairs for me so that I can pick them up and refill them and do all of that.
Do you lose the sticker off of there, does that sell a sticker?
Yeah, so they all have to have the official sticker on the side of them. If the sticker gets damaged, if it gets worn or anything like that, write it up, let me know, or I'll probably see it when I come fill it every single day. We have to make sure that it's got a good, clean, fresh sticker on it, because it's required by law. And I'm trying to think, that's pretty much it. Just make sure this sticker is still good. So if you have any issues, just give me a holler and I'll come replace them.
Alright.
What about field trips and activity routes? Cause you guys will be gone, so should we just do that, cause the other won't be able to be done?
Yes,
'Cause you're
so,
gonna be home.
field trips and activities, the way that we've been running a few that have been going, we just leave one of these bottles on the bus. Obviously, you're not gonna be spraying it as much per day, so there's more than enough to last. I won't have to fill them up every day for field trips and activities, but during normal operation, I will be checking these every day, and they will have enough for field trips and activities in addition to the daily. That's why, like I even said, hosing those buses every day, I ended up with about 8 ounces after a 3-tier route every day, so they should have plenty of them in there. And then, like I said, with maintenance, you guys don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about leaving the pressure or any of that. I'll be taking care of all of that.
But we should spray after a field trip or after the activity route, we should still spray that since you won't be there
nobody here, then yes, quick rundown, spray the whole bus and back. Any other questions?
Okay, you tired? Well, cheers, so.
All there?
I do have one question. Talking about field trips and sports trips and stuff, so, not that I want more work, but the coaches will know who's on the bus if we're doing this contact tracing stuff. So they will know, obviously, they're not gonna know where they're sitting, but they will know who's on there.
Correct.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Okay.
Same with activity.
So like, as of today, at 2 minutes to 2. Alright, I'm gonna go through a few things that we normally go through, but then we'll get on to more questions, because this makes for questions. We did have 5 accidents last year, 3 were our fault, 2 were due to speed, and, 1 was just too close. They got too close to a car and they sideswiped it. The other 2, we got rear-ended, so they were not our fault. And honestly, I think you could say speed for all of them, because the reason they sideswiped the car is because they were going too fast and in a hurry, so. Just keep it in mind, safety first. GCN, we're gonna talk about it at a later date, because we honestly haven't decided how we're gonna do it. It's been suggested to, maybe you guys do it from home on your own. But I know that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The training.
Oh,
Online training.
The GCN trainings, yeah. So we may just do like we have in the past, safety meeting, we'll just have to obviously split up like we have done. Or maybe we'll do a combination. Important dates for August and September will be in your yellow folders when you get them. And then, the safety meeting schedule that was published, if you don't have one, I believe we have copies for your folders. If not, let me know, we can get you copies of that. The early dismissal will be in there as well, it's 2-sided. Make sure you flip it over and look at the rest of it. Golf is running Monday through Friday. And then some of this I'm gonna skip because we go over it every single year, and I think you guys probably have it, or it's not going to be an issue this year, because of, the loads. Driver's license, if you have not done so already, check and see when your driver's license expires. You can renew that 364 days ahead of time. And we did have somebody over summer get pulled for all the written tests, so. We're still doing the radio checks out of the middle school, that's how you check in. You can try it here, but like we told them in the morning, that we don't usually hear you or you don't hear us unless you're already starting to back out. Cell phones, we all have that down now, right? But for duty, we all have surgery, if you're out for an extended period of time, you will have to go back to dryer. You get a fit for duty, physical, which they will ask you for a release from your doctor. Just so you know, some people forget that. So as long as you're there and get your release from your doctor, make sure you get a copy to dryer. And it has to say, you may return to work as a school bus driver, that has to be on there. Route changes, same thing. I don't anticipate that we're gonna have a whole lot of route changes again, because there's not a whole lot of kids on the buses, but we're gonna hold off, let us get our feet on the ground the first couple of days, and then we'll start calling people in. The mandatory driving of the AM routes will be Monday, the 24th, so this coming Monday. North and south, we were able to put the buses in order over there, but here they are not in order because we don't know what order they're gonna be in until you guys did. think we'll do the same as last year. When you go out to, in the AM to do, your dry run, Monday, we'll have somebody out there telling you where to put the bus, so we can get those in order.
Mary?
Yeah.
For Monday's route, excuse me, I'm sorry, are we just doing Monday's route?
Yes, just the AM. The AMs tend to be the longer ones. They have more stops.
Oh, I meant, we don't do Monday and Tuesday, we just do
Right.
Mondays.
Yeah, because again, there'll be the longer ones with more stops on them. The B routes tend to be ones where maybe there's not a stop that you went to on Monday, but you still kind of follow along. So it should be pretty close to the same. Do not bring stuff in for, the free table. After last Wednesday, the meetings were done and there was stuff sitting on the free table. We can't do that right now. Okay. I feel badly, I really do. I wish things would go back to normal and we could do all those things again and we could all sit out here and coffee clutch in the morning waiting to go out on route, but we just have to wait a little bit longer. When we call you guys for a field trip, please do not say, I don't do field trips, you can take me off the list. Everyone does field trips. I have not hired anybody who said, Mary, I'll take the job, but I won't do field trips. I would have said, I'm sorry. Okay, so everyone, when they hired on, knew field trips were part of the job. So please don't say that when we call. It's okay to say, hey, I've got something going on. I can't do it. But don't tell us not to call, okay? The return to school work flow chart. There was one issued on July 7th and then one revised on, August 3rd. It came through email, everyone saw it, a little bit of a revision to it. You should have gotten it through email. If you need a copy, let us know, but it'll be posted as well. And it just basically goes through when do you need to be out for 14 days, when is the 10 days, when do you need to be fever free for 24 hours or 48 hours or 72 hours, whatever it is that right now. You also got the employee rights, which, well, it's already posted, but if not, we'll get it posted. But this was sent through email as well. So if you do come down with symptoms, or you have been in contact with somebody and the health department says you need to quarantine, there's a form to fill out, the CARES Act. So, it will not take those, 10 days, I guess it would be, Monday through Friday, from your sick time initially. If it goes on longer than that, if there's a problem, then it may start coming out of your sick time. But if you're just down quarantine, or you're just out for 10 days because you did have it and you don't have, major, symptoms, and you come back in 10 days, those will not be your sick days. Okay? Absolutely no eating on the buses, no eating or drinking. The students, I know there's some that, especially at high school, they walk on everything, they can't do that this year. They have to keep their mask on. If they want to bring something and have it in their backpack, they can do that. A lot of them have that cup holders, they can do that. But should warn them right off the bat. If you see them, it won't be allowed anymore. They cannot be used as allowed. Self-certify, you guys did that last Wednesday, but I wanna make it clear like that. That was saying you're going to do that every day. This isn't something you need to turn in every day. You're just signing off saying, I will make sure that I check myself every day. And, I'll be here if I don't have symptoms, I won't be here if I do have symptoms. That's all we talked about last week. Just a reminder, we cannot go around talking about what's going on with another student, with another employee, and what's going on with their health. So stay away from that. Social distancing. We talked about, we all know 6 feet apart, we gotta have our masks on. they have been told they're to do that at the bus stop as well, the students. And hopefully they follow that. It'll be interesting, you know, cause we won't be there, and if we pull up and see if they're actually doing it or not. They also have to have their masks on, they have to have it on at the bus stop, they have to have it, when they're entering, while they're being transported, while they're exiting. At full time, they have to have it on. We talked about doing, student attendance daily, the loading from the back to the front and unloading from front to back, assigned seats, siblings will sit together if they're in the same household. That's the way they will be assigned. So yes, you could have a kindergartner towards the back of the bus, but they will be sitting with their siblings. All right, specific to certain schools, a high school, the routes are set up this way, but just so you know, there are no buses dropping off before 7:20. And we were able to do that because, again, of the loads, you know, and the shorter routes. Not as many stops that we have to go to. So I know some of you were getting there at 7:10, 7:15 to make the route work. So don't worry when you see 7:20, it's intentional and it should still work. And while I say that, let me just say, because I don't want you guys worrying about this. This only works because of the loads, because we don't have as many stops that we have to hit. Because we have no intention of keeping it this way. There's absolutely no way this would work in a normal school year with the kids that we have. So I don't want people to worry and think, oh my God, if they can do this many 3-tier routes this year, and again, it's circumstantial. Way it worked out. GMS unload when you arrive. Most buses are scheduled between 8:15 and 8:20, anywhere in between there. You don't have to wait till 8:15, but don't be there at 8:10 either. If your times are off, come in and let us know, we'll get you scheduled correctly. What we're saying is if you get there at 8:13, 8:14, you can unload. You don't have to wait for us to call 8:15, because they prefer to not have all the kids at one time. And then Williamsburg is still doing a 7:45 drop off, but they are doing one at a time. So they'll unload the bus, and then the next one will pull up, you'll pull up to the main door, but in the bus circle, where we're supposed to be, and they'll unload, there.
Is that the only school doing that?
As of right now. Any other questions?
Yeah, we have a couple. For middle school, if you park at middle school and you drop off at middle school, what time are you allowed to come back and actually park your bus?
I would say 8:25,
8:25?
in case we have someone running late, yeah.
Okay, so my other question
It's
is,
doubtful, I know.
What's that?
It's doubtful, I know.
as far as no eating and drinking on the bus,
Mhm.
are bus drivers allowed to have water?
Yeah,
Okay.
but we did talk about, you guys remember, you have to have, when you're driving down the road, even if there aren't kids on the bus, because the general public does not know that you don't have kids on the bus. And it's gonna be assumed that we have a bus driver driving kids around with no mask on, so you do have to keep those on.
Can we unload the kids, can they just all get up and as normal, or?
No, they have to social distance,
Okay,
loading
so,
and unloading.
So we want them to stay in their seats and unload first.
front to back.
First.
Front to back, yep.
Front to back.
We're only dropping off at one middle school?
Any
So
other
they're gonna
questions?
cross in between and go past each other in the middle?
Yep. Any other questions?
Do you have a break between routes, like if you have to come back here, do you have to sit in a special spot here, or do you sit in the car, or? Do
You have to, like, we'll leave these 6 feet apart.
You just
We
like
do
this?
have to stay 6 feet apart. Masks on, obviously.
Will we be allowed to go to our car?
Yep. Just need to let us know.
What's that?
Just need to let us know.
Okay.
So like, if you picked a route now, all of a sudden, your kids aren't going, so you have to sit here, or you have to stop, or whatever, you can go to your car, we just need to know how to get a hold of you, we need to know where you're at, in case we need you.
I'm just woman glass half full. What happens if, come January or February and things are getting better? Will they?
We will rebid. I've already talked to Dean, I said this can't stay this way, if we go back, fully back, we have to do another bid.
Oh, I'm just asking that, I guess, yes, so it's possible, so this isn't definite, it's going to be the entire school year, how everything.
No, nope, and then we may do 2 weeks into it, and we may get shut down.
Right.
But we also may come back in February, and if we come back, all students, if we're fully back in February, we will rebid. Even if we have to come in on the weekend to do it.
Is there a new schedule for school? When I looked online, they still had the old one, so as far as time off, like Thanksgiving and stuff like that. Will that be changed?
Like vacation, like Christmas vacation is still the same week.
Yeah,
And
that's,
Thanksgiving and everything?
yeah, that's still the same. I think they made one change in the last 3 weeks. That was just switching an 8 into a B day. Yep.
I got a question about the windows being open. On these hot days, I know that nobody's gonna run around with the open bus and raining, common sense. But can I have, if I have too many windows down, is Mary gonna go home and say, hey, the bus driver has got all the windows down, and blah, 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 blah. Are we gonna catch flack over that, or we're gonna be able to have the windows down? 80, 90 degree weather.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, we encourage it. We encourage the windows to be down, we encourage, the hatches, the one in the front should be open in the front, the one in the back should be open in the back, to keep the airflow going through.
I just think the parents are gonna be happy that their kids are going to school, so I don't think they're gonna be
Right.
picking at everything, I think they're just gonna be thrilled. I'm just
But
trying to.
and that is one of the things that we've put out there, the kids can't touch the windows. That's the driver.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So
because
if you
parents
get-
can't put the window up. Some kids don't like a draft. I mean,
Yeah, they're not allowed to touch the windows. So, be the captain of your ship, Jim,
okay.
alright?
I just wanna know what I can do, what I
It's
can't.
gonna be okay.
It is. Now, we did have this question this morning, what if it starts raining? I, as a driver, would make an exception and let them put it up. I would encourage them, as soon as they get to the school, to use the hand sanitizer. If it starts pouring, they can't sit there in the pouring rain either, so. Just think, if it were your child on the bus, if it was your grandchild on the bus, what would you do, right? I think I'd make an exception, put the window up, and I'd be like, straight to the hand sanitizer.
Well, in the past, we were supposed to close the windows after a route at night.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to still do that or keep them open?
At night?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they always close them.
What about between the routes, like when you come back in the morning, you have to put all the windows up and shut the hatches at the middle school? Can you keep stuff open if it's not raining, or do you have to shut everything up?
The problem, we've tried that, and then we get pop-up storms. So that's why we require it at the middle schools, the windows have to be up. Here, it's not as big of a deal, but I can tell you, or maybe Deb can tell you as a sub, that she could come back in the afternoon and you're sick and she has to drive your route and it's raining and now she has to put all your windows up. So. She's right. Any other questions? So, again, right now, what we're doing, we're stuffing the rest of what needs to go into those yellow folders. We also did a double check of everything because they do continue, ever since it went on home access Monday, parents are like, oh my God, I didn't sign them up for transportation. So things are changing. But we just redid everything this morning, re-looked at everything. And I think at this point, we're just gonna do a reprint of all the routes. Not that there were major changes, there were just too many. And so we're gonna do a reprint, and we're also updating the cheat sheet. So you should see that late this afternoon come out. Yeah, it shouldn't be a huge difference, but
Will we get an email of, throughout the day, Thursday and Friday, for which routes are going?
we can.
That'd be
I
great.
know Jackie usually keeps track of, as soon as a bid's taken, a route is taken.
Oh, yes, if, the updated cheat sheet, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes,
But she's wondering, can it be emailed periodically?
yes, that's what I plan on doing.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So the new bid sheet we'll get by this afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Late this afternoon. No, I think we're close.
Can I just make a comment? I'd
Mhm.
like to thank you and your team for all the extra work you did.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, I appreciate that. And we couldn't resist, I'm sure you guys saw we all got the same t-shirt. Matt's isn't coming until Friday, but he got kind of a nerdy one. He thought these were too feminine.
Where did you get your masks?
His mom's neighbor's been making them. Like, she makes little ones, I have, little ones made for my, grandson, superhero ones, so, you know, when they go to daycare, they're like, yeah, man, they're happy to wear the mask. You just have to teach them, you can't trade them.
I couldn't find the fabric.
No?
Amazon.
So I was on Amazon for masks, and I just wasn't thrilled about any of them. I was like, they're okay.
The children's one I did.
Yeah.
on Amazon.
Yeah. So I had, you guys have time for a funny story? Okay, I want to tell the story. He is in, just started second grade today. So his cousin stayed the night on Saturday. He is starting fifth grade, right? So she stays the night with Ben. So my daughter Danielle was like, oh my gosh, Lily, you're starting fifth grade. That's an awesome grade to be starting, because that's when you really start remembering things and you remember your friends and teachers, you know, and everything like that. And he says nothing until this morning when it's about time for his school to start. And he says, do you really think I should be doing this? Because I'm not gonna remember any of it.
Genius.
He is an overthinker.
That's how we feel at our age.
One quick thing I forgot to mention earlier, so the whole COVID thing, I'm not gonna have a whole lot of face-to-face with you guys, so because of that, and for quality of life for office and garage, we are getting radios. So we'll be able to hear you whenever you call for DEF, or if you call for a lot of those things.
We're no longer middlemen.
Yeah, it's because it's a pain in the butt for them to get the radio and then try to find out where we are and call us, and the garage doesn't get cell service, so we're getting radios that are wired into the whole district. Now, that doesn't mean call in every little discrepancy over it, it's pretty much the same radio protocol we have, except now instead of calling them for DEF, we're right there, and we'll let you know how far away we are, or so on and so forth. Another thing I like is, if you have any like major downing discrepancies, so say you have a headlight or tail light out, those are really fast and easy to replace, and I can get them done before you get out on your route. So call us over the radio, we'll grab the stuff we need, and we'll meet you out by your bus and get it done. That way you can just put it on your pre-trip, we'll sign it off, everything's good to go, and we don't have to worry about it. And then you're not stuck trying to find a new bus, or where are the mechanics at, to see if we can fix it, so.
So instead of, say, 83 to base, it's gonna be 83 to shop, so they'll know.
So
It's a question for them.
yeah. Small, big change, but.
Yeah, it's a small change, but I think it's going to
big
have
impact.
a great impact on things.
I'm getting
training's tomorrow, right?
Yes, it starts at 7 o'clock tomorrow with Leslie. I did not change times, I know, we tend to go through this every year, we lose a few drivers. I don't change the times just because it gets too confusing.
Is that posted somewhere?
No, but we can get it for you.
Okay.
It's in the, email, but it's like, June.
Yeah, we can post it, or send it back out. What, you know, you want me to send it back out as a reminder to everyone,
Yeah.
midtime? You gonna check your email, or do I need to print it?
I'll check my email. Hey, I've been checking my email. I've adapted.
All right.
Not much of an email. I don't even check my personal email. Once a week, maybe.
It's just strange, because I've done it for so many years. You know what I mean, that I couldn't go a day without checking my email. It's just weird to me, yeah, obviously, just different scenarios, though.
I don't know if anybody else has gotten this, I haven't opened it, speaking of emails. Is that something else to open?
So that's something that is trying to, it is an actual program, it's trying to organize everything for you.
Oh,
Any email that you have left in there, I just delete them.
yeah, okay, it was like just for me, and that seemed really suspicious.
Trying to sell you the program.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
I didn't want to bring this up in a meeting, but, this wasn't mandatory.
No.
So how is everybody gonna get this information?
We recorded it this morning.
Okay, so they can, but they all know that they have to watch this?
I don't think we had very